Okay, good morning, everybody. I call the April 22nd, 2025 meeting of the DuPage County Board to order. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Member Galassi, will you please lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I now invite Deacon Dan DeFino from St. Isidore's Parish in Bloomingdale to lead us in the invocation.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. To start, I ask that we have a brief moment of reflection and silence for our Pope Francis, who passed away early yesterday morning. He was the 266th Pope, a direct descendant of St. Peter, and we reflect and think about his time of service and grace that he provided to our church and to the world. And so we come together on this Tuesday after Easter in the Easter octave, the holy days after Easter Sunday. We are reminded of service and sacrifice emulated through the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And as we reflect through this Easter season, it is important that we are reminded of our call to those we represent in our community, and that we do so with integrity, compassion, and ultimately love. And we hear from the Gospel of John near the end of the life of Jesus Christ as he said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down their life for their friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you." Through these words of the gospel, we recognize that we are called to be friends of Jesus by living his commands and imitating his life of service and sacrifice. And so we pray. Heavenly Father, through the sacrifice of your Son, may we be strengthened in our desire to do what is right in following your word. Let our will be in accordance with your plan, and help us to be disciples of fairness, brothers and sisters to those in need, and set our minds and bodies to stay strong and healthy, so that we may be able to carry out our responsibilities with conviction and a commitment to better the lives of all we serve. We ask this in the name of your Son, our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen. And may the Lord be with you, and may Almighty God bless you all, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Deputy Clerk, please take the roll.
Cahill. Here. Childress. Here. Covert.
Here.
Desart. Here. Eckhoff. Here. Evans. Here. Galassi. Here. Garcia.
Here.
Heather. Here. Honig. Here. Krajewski. LaPlante. Here. Ozog. Rutledge. Here. Schwarzy. Here. Tornatori. Here. You.
Here.
And Zay.
Okay, we're going to start out today with the 30th Annual Trails Cleanup and Earth Day Proclamation. I'd like to invite Member Rutledge, Don Kirchenberg, and Member Jim Zay to the podium. You guys look very nice together. Are you going to prom later? Okay. Happy Earth Day, everyone. In DuPage County, we take our commitment to environmental sustainability seriously. I want to thank all of our departments who work so hard to save energy, promote clean air and water, and generally make our planet a healthier place for the next generation. Today, I've asked Environmental Chair Sheila Rutledge and her guest, Don Kirchenberg, to raise awareness about the 30th anniversary of an event this weekend in support of a cleaner, healthier trail system. I've also asked Stormwater Committee Chairman Jim Zay, who hasn't quite been here 30 years, to talk a bit about the annual Sustainable Design Challenge that many of us participated in last week, and to remind us of the work that's being done to keep our DuPage waterways clean on this Earth Day and every day. allowed me to read our proclamation, and I'll ask you to tell us some more about the trails cleanup and stormwater efforts. Okay, whereas the first Earth Day was enacted in 1970 and engaged more than 20 million Americans to advocate for a cleaner environment. And whereas Earth Day now has become a worldwide event and has highlighted some of the most critical environmental issues on the world stage. Whereas a tenet of the county's strategic plan in environmental stewardship, which focuses on preserving the natural environment and safeguarding wetlands to create a more resilient community. And whereas county departments led by Stormwater Management and the Environmental Division partner with numerous organizations to undertake environmentally friendly practices. And whereas DuPage County is home to the Great Western Trail and Illinois Prairie Path, regional assets that provide residents and visitors with access to scenic nature areas, opportunities for outdoor recreation, and alternative transportation routes. Whereas Friends of the Great Western Trail are conducting their 30th annual Trails Cleanup event, which ensures the trails may remain clean, safe, and beautiful for all who use them. And whereas the annual Trails Cleanup is a shining example of civic engagement, bringing together volunteers, local organizations, and community leaders collaborating to preserve these vital public amenities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the DuPage County Board do hereby proclaim April 26, 2025 as the 30th anniversary of the annual Trails Cleanup Day in DuPage County and April 22nd, 2025 as Earth Day, and encourage all in favor. It's all good. It's all good.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Chair Conroy, for this very nice proclamation. It's hard to believe we started with 4 volunteers in 1995. Thank you to Sheila Rutledge, a long-term Trails supporter and Trails cleanup volunteer, for initiating the proclamation. Thank you to DuPage County for your investment in a premier trails network anchored by the Illinois Prairie Path. We'll talk about making an investment in a safer Great Western Trail crossing at County Farm Road at a later date. It's needed. We also wish to thank Grant Eckhoff for helping clean the Great Western Trail every year. We have special thanks to Greg Schwarzy and his wife Julia for leading a very large team of volunteers these past few years to clean the Great Western Trail. Thank you to all the volunteers for the past 30 years. And you're all welcome to join us on April 26th. County Board Member Schwarzy has a great team, a lot of fun in Carroll Stream, albeit Prince Crossing and the Great Western Trail where it intersects with the Prairie Path, directing volunteers, but there's a lot of opportunities to clean the trails. We also have volunteers in attendance: Jackie Allen, Dave Berry, Donald Nix, and Larry Pitts. Most people are working today, as you know. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you, Don, for coming out this morning and bringing so many dedicated volunteers on this project. When I first got elected in 2018, trails were the very first thing people came to me about. So clearly we really love our trails in DuPage County, and we've done a great job of providing that such a needed gift to our community for that. So thank you, Don, for all you do. 30 years of cleaning those trails. We got to get them ready for summer because it is coming. And Schwarzy, you've got a big group. You can send a few my way. I've got a little smaller group. I'll be south of where Don's going to be at Prairie Path and Prince Crossing. So it's not a bad lift. Everybody come on out and give us a hand. Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we brought out stormwater and environmental, but also want to thank all the departments from transportation to facilities. Even though it's Earth Day, I don't think people realize what we do every day of the year to help the environment and make our footprint less. So we do a lot in transportation, the things they've done over the years to keep the salt out of the rivers and, you know, to get more friendly beet juice and all the other stuff. And even IT with recycling events and all that, it goes a long way. So it's since in the 30s when I got here, we've done a lot more there. The Stormwater Department has partnered with local nonprofit groups like the Conservation Foundation and SCARES to promote the principles of Earth Day and focusing on outreach and education to the citizens of DuPage. As we speak right now, stormwater staff and SCARES are hosting 30 STEM students from Glenbard West at the Elmhurst Quarry, teaching them about the real-life sustainability practices that DuPage County practices. Every April, and I want to thank all the county board members for coming, we've partnered with the Conservation Foundation and SCARES for the annual river sweep and for the sustainable design. Last week we had high school students here talking about sustainable design, and again, they construct buildings and landscape models to be more environmentally friendly, and we've seen a lot with the people. We saw many of them, if you talk to them, are getting into environmental studies in college, so it goes a long way. The Conservation Foundation also does its annual river sweep in April. It's a volunteer base, focuses on the DuPage River and the Salt Creek watershed to remove trash and debris. They should be commended. Throughout the 20 years of the partnership, the river sweep has logged more than 16,000 volunteers and removed over 300 tons of garbage from the county's waterways. This year's river sweep started this past Saturday, had over 650 volunteers at 25 different sites collecting trash and getting it out of our waterways. Again, I want to thank Don and everybody. We all work together here, and Sheila again, and I want to thank my stormwater staff for always telling me to think environmental and to remind me to wear a green tie today. But again, thank you, and again, this is not Earth Day one day, it's every day. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Can I ask the volunteers that are here with Don to come up for a picture, and also Member Schwarzy and Member Eckhoff? Okay, now I'd like to invite Mark Bushbaker and Mary Keating to the podium. Okay. Each year at this time, we acknowledge the importance of DuPage's nonprofit organizations and the thousands of people who give their time and treasure to support these vital missions in our community. Giving DuPage provides connection between volunteers and donors with local groups that are seeking assistance. This year, on May 1st, Giving DuPage is hosting a virtual community fundraiser encouraging those who can to support dozens of local charities. Giving DuPage Vice President Mark Bushbaker and Community Services Director Mary Keating are here to accept the proclamation. Whereas DuPage County, through its strategic plan, has made a commitment to ensuring children and families can access services and programs that lead to independent and healthy lives. And whereas Giving DuPage was founded in 2001 by two philanthropists as a community resource on volunteerism and giving, and is available to all county residents. And whereas Giving DuPage inspires and informs businesses, civic groups, and individuals, helping to connect those seeking to volunteer or make donations with charities. And whereas Giving DuPage will be an online community fundraiser that provides DuPage County nonprofits the opportunity to raise funds for their causes. And whereas in total, Giving DuPage fundraisers have connected 10,600 donors and more than 100 nonprofits, raising more than $1.5 million. And whereas DuPage County seeks to raise awareness of Giving DuPage and the 6th annual Giving DuPage Days and ensuring the valuable efforts continue. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the County Board do hereby proclaim May 1st, 2025 as Giving DuPage Day in DuPage County and encourage everyone to become supportive of a nonprofit through this annual fundraiser. All in favor? Okay, enacted the 22nd day of April 2025 in Wheaton, Illinois.
Board and staff, we certainly appreciate this recognition and proclamation today, so thank you very much.
I want to thank Mark and all of the volunteers who serve on the Giving DuPage board. These are folks who are really committed to the mission of spreading the good work of Giving DuPage and of volunteerism. I think the online fundraiser really provides an opportunity, particularly for smaller nonprofits who don't have the capacity to do their own major fundraising event, gives them a platform, gives them sort of a collective marketing opportunity, and really is a simple way that the county can support those nonprofits and really get folks engaged. We also connect, there's over 5,000 views a month on the Giving DuPage volunteer portal, so it's not just about raising money, it's about raising that capital, that human capital that nonprofits so desperately need. So thanks to the board for its continued support of Giving DuPage, and I really want to thank the Giving DuPage board for their commitment as well.
Okay, now I'd like to invite Bob McEllen and Chief Justice Bonnie Wheaton to the podium. Okay, we truly saved the best for last today. As we celebrate Bob McEllen's work anniversary, let's take a walk down memory lane. The year was 1983. The #1 song on the Billboard music chart was Every Breath You Take by the Police. And a young Bob McEllen, fresh out of Illinois State University, began his career with DuPage County government as a deputy sheriff. In 1986, he moved to probation and as an adult caseworker. Later, Bob became an adult investigator, then a supervisor, then was promoted to the department's quality assurance coordinator. In 2008, he was promoted to deputy director. In 2020, Bob was elevated to the director position just 1 month before COVID hit. Perhaps you can understand that after more than 4 decades working here, we wanted to celebrate Bob McEllen's significant contribution to the probation department and the people of DuPage County. This celebration is twofold, as Bob is now preparing for his next role as a county retiree. Bob, your many years of service are much appreciated. We are happy to honor you with this proclamation. Whereas Bob J. McEllen has distinguished himself as a leader with more than 41 years dedicated and to progressive service to the court, community, and residents of DuPage County. And whereas Bob McEllen began his career as deputy sheriff with DuPage County Sheriff's Office shortly after graduating from Illinois State University in 1983, serving with distinction and integrity. And whereas in 1986, Bob McEllen joined the probation department as a probation officer in the adult casework division, performing admirably in that role and in subsequent assignments with the investigative unit. Whereas Bob McEllen was promoted to supervisor in 1991, a role which he served until 2008, providing guidance, mentorship, coaching, and training to countless new and veteran probation officers. Whereas in 2008, Bob McEllen was promoted to deputy director and oversaw the creation, staffing, and implementation of the circuit's pretrial service unit, which was recognized as a model program throughout the state of Illinois. And whereas Bob McEllen was appointed Director of Probation and Court Services in January 2020, just prior to the onset of COVID-19, which significantly impacted department operations. His innovative leadership, clear communication, flexible decision-making, and long-term vision proved he was the right choice to lead the department through an unprecedented time. And whereas throughout his career, Bob McEllen successfully led department staff while fostering strong partnerships with stakeholders, judges, elected officials, and department leaders, contributing to meaningful system reform and operational improvements. Whereas Bob McEllen will retire from DuPage County in May 2025, following a long and distinguished career in public service. He is to be commended for consistently demonstrating exceptional judgment, professionalism, and dedication to the court and the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the County Board do hereby commend Robert J. McEllen for more than 41 years of exemplary public service, extend our sincere appreciation for his many contributions to DuPage County and the 18th Judicial Court, and wish him the very best in his retirement. All in favor? Okay, enacted this 22nd day of April 2025 in Wheaton, Illinois.
Well, I'm more nervous now than when you guys are grilling me over agenda items. I'm old school, I write on paper. When I first started, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have a computer, we didn't have the internet, so we did everything on paper. So I thought I'd end my career doing it on paper. Thank you, Chair Conway, JPS, Chair Evans, Vice Chair Eckhoff, and all of you for this proclamation. It's really, really appreciate it. To Chief Judge Wheaton, your leadership has helped create a collaborative atmosphere in our probation department. Your actions show that you really care about the work of the probation department. It's much appreciated. Thank you. To all the judges, former Chief Judge Guerin, Hopejoy, and the rest of the judges, thank you for your support of the probation department's programs and services. Suzanne Armstrong, we've been through a lot in the past several years. Dealt with a lot. COVID, union negotiations, reconstruction of our office space, and the Pretrial Fairness Act. I appreciate your guidance and friendship during those difficult times. Thank you. To the probation management staff who are sitting back here. In 2008, as mentioned, I was promoted to deputy director. Within that same period of time, 3 other supervisors were promoted to deputy director. We formed a wonderful team that exists to this day. When I was promoted to director in 2000, I was fortunate to have these people as my right-hand men and women. I'm leaving the department in good hands. Kathy Starkovich, one of our deputy directors, has been promoted to replace me. It's going to be a smooth transition. She knows the department well, so we're in good hands. To everyone at the probation department, your dedication and passion for helping those who come before us change their behavior has led to a safer DuPage County. Thank you for everything you do on a daily basis. To our 6 kids, yeah, 6. We have watched you grow and become successful in your fields of study. Deb and I are both very proud of all of you. Lastly, but most importantly, thank you to my wife, Deb. You have done so much for me and our family over the years. I would not be where I am without you. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Member Evans, do you want to join us? I'm informed we do not have public comment today. If the board has received public comment via our online portal, per board policy, those comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed. Comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. As today is Earth Day, it seems appropriate I should focus my remarks on some very important people who keep us grounded. On behalf of myself and the board, I want to wish the administrative professionals in DuPage County government a very happy Administrative Professionals Day, which is celebrated tomorrow. Allow me to express my personal gratitude for Heidi Blakely and Michelle Dunsner in our county board office. I know all of you share that appreciation. I know that our board members will join me in thanking all of our assistants and specialists around the county who work so hard to get our agendas prepared, create the process invoices, prepare meeting minutes, and do hundreds of things to keep us all functioning on time with the proper paperwork and materials. We literally could not run our county without you, and we wouldn't want to try. Thanks, and happy Administrative Professionals Day. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Okay. 25-11-10, DuPage County Board regular meeting minutes, Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. 25-993-4-4, 2025 pay list. 25-10-18-4-8, 2025 pay list. 25-10-41, 4-9, 2025 auto debit pay list. 25-10-72, 4-11, 2025 pay list. 25-10-74, 4-14, 2025 auto debit pay list. 25-10-95, 4-15, 2025 pay list. 25-992, 4-4, 2025 IDOR wire transfer. 25-10-12, 4-28, 2025 Corville wire transfer. 25-997, county clerk's monthly reports, monthly receipts and disbursement report, March 2025. 25-10-76, recorder's monthly revenue statements, March 2025. 25-10-78, treasurer's monthly report of investments and deposits, March 2025. 25-10-94, change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packet. All in favor? Okay, and we'll move on to County Board and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 3525, the appointment of Mark Eddington to the Downers Grove Sanitary District.
Okay, has it been moved and seconded? Roll call, please.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. And Cahill.
Okay, Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 3625, the appointment of Christopher Ketcherubas to the Sheriff Merit Commission.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on to CBR 3725, the appointment of James Flynn to the Yorkfield Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on CBR 3825, the expansion board review appointment of 12 members.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
And finally, I'd like to move on CBR 3925, resolution approving member initiative program agreements.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. And now we'll move on to Finance and Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Two items. First of all, we had a presentation at our Finance Committee regarding the Care Center, and there was a unanimous consensus that we would be going forward with doing the East building on that. So it was a great presentation. So we're looking forward to that ongoing update of the building over there. Also, 10A is going to be withdrawn. It should not have been included on the, this agenda, so I'm withdrawing 10A FIR 005225. So moving on, I make a motion to approve FIR 006525, recommendation for approval of modification 1 to home agreement HM2102A between Catholic Charities Diocese of Joliet, Inc. and the County of DuPage, increasing the amount of HOPE funding by $110,339 for a total home amount of $410,339.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Garcia.
Aye.
Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. And Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 006625, additional appropriation for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Funded Projects Fund, Company 1200, in the amount of $21,112.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 006725, additional appropriation for the Help America Vote Act, polling place of accessibility grant, program year 25, company 5,000, in the amount of $668,448.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 006825, additional appropriation for the Illinois Voter Registration Systems Grant Program Year 25, Company 5000, Accounting Unit 4250, in the amount of $848,376.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 006925, acceptance and appropriation of interest earned on investment for the DuPage Animal Friends Phase 2 Capital Project Grant, Company 5000, County Unit 1310, in the amount of $12,070.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion for the approval of FIR 007125, additional appropriation for the Tort Liability Fund, Company 1000, Accounting Unit 1212, in the amount of $10 million.
Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I asked some questions about this during finance, and it says appropriation, and I was assured during finance that it was an appropriation, but what it really is a budget transfer. It's not an appropriation at all. It's a budget transfer, so therein lies my confusion about this amount of money. I thought it was new money. It's not an appropriation. It's a transfer. But I believe, I think this discussion is necessary, and it's probably long overdue, that people are dying in our jail, and other people have negative outcomes for not receiving the medication that they're prescribed. And I just wondered if anybody is being held accountable. So I would like to see an outside review of the sheriff's office regarding policies and procedures in the jail for full transparency. And if you disagree, that's your prerogative, but I think that this should be a nonpartisan issue. We should want people to stay alive in our jail. We should want them to be, the detainees to be respected and medicated as necessary, as their doctors have prescribed. And, as related to tort liability, the investment in an outside review could save DuPage County taxpayers millions of dollars. And I think protecting the county is making sure that these avoidable lawsuits never happen again. So I think an outside review should be appropriate. Instead of paying, it should be an investment to do that rather than paying all of these lawsuits. Thank you.
Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the members' comments, but in my time here, this is one of the few that we've ever had. The Sheriff's Office, I think, does an incredible job for the amount of people they have over there, the work they have to do, and unfortunately, there was a tragedy. Right or wrong, who's responsible for it, things happen. And if you compared us to Cook County and any other large county in the United States and see what kind of lawsuits we've had over the years for anything happening in our jail, it's unheard of how good our percentage is and what happens. I think our sheriff and his staff does a great job. What they have in trying to get people there. There were circumstances to, unfortunately, this case. And again, just to say because we have one case that the whole system's bad and that we need to look at it. I don't think the Sheriff's Office would mind talking about their procedures and going over there for a tour and talking about what they do. And again, but I wouldn't say that this is an epidemic over there, that just was just something, a tragedy that happened, and that, again, they do, I think, an excellent job. And unfortunately, this happened, and compared to Cook County and other counties, I think we stand above those counties. Thank you.
Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I don't believe we compare ourselves to anybody. What happens in the jail is what happens to people who have been incarcerated in DuPage. And I agree with Member Desart that an outside review could certainly only be helpful. And I think that while this is an extremely unfortunate incident, there have been other issues, and I think that it is time for an outside review. And if there's no problems and there's no reason, then I think that it would be a good idea, and especially for our taxpayers' sake. Thank you.
Member Desart, and then Member Evans.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate that, saying this is one case, I'm sorry you believe that, but that's just not true. It's many, many cases. There have been several deaths. There have been people not medicated going into seizures because they're not receiving their medication. There's been a jail deputy having an inappropriate relationship with a detainee. I mean, there are a series of issues in our jail. And again, I think that an outside review would only help the county by saving it lawsuits, saving the money in lawsuits. And I think it would be a great investment to find out what's going on there. And I think everybody should want our jail to perform at the maximum it possibly can, and maybe changing policies and procedures over there could save lives, make our jail even better. I mean, I'm just looking to make our jail, if people have to be detained there, just making it the best that it possibly can be for everybody, for the deputies who work there, for the inmates, for the detainees. I think that whenever you can do something like an independent review to make the whatever organization the best it can be, it would be a good investment. Thank you.
Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a matter of logistics, do we have the authority to go in there and do I guess an audit of the sheriff's office? I don't believe that we have the authority to do that. And also regarding policies and procedures, once again, that's a question for the electeds, and same reason we don't go into the clerk's office, right?
I'm unaware of a legal authority unless any of the state's attorneys want to change that. But I do know currently they do get IDOC, the Illinois Department of Corrections, does a review, a third-party review for their standards and such. If I remember correctly, they were just reaccredited this past year in regards to IDOC standards. I would have to look into this a little bit more on technicalities, but that's what I'm aware of off the top of my head.
Okay.
Unequivocally, I can tell you, when it comes to procedures and policies, the board does not have the authority to dictate within the jail. I mean, they're an independent elected official.
Okay. I would say that we have put in more cameras over there in the last year, which I think was very beneficial for everybody. So I think that's definitely a good thing. Member Desart.
So with Nick and Jason up there, I just wanted to ask, so if we're not allowed to go in there and ask for, although I think that the sheriff's office and the jail staff would want to be the best it can be, so I don't think asking for an outside office to come in and take a look would be a bad thing for them. It would be a good thing for them. But if we don't, we're not lawyers. Jason's a lawyer, you can look into it. But I wonder then if we're not allowed as a board to go in and take a look at what's going on in the jail or ask for an outside influence, then perhaps what are our alternatives? I mean, can we make them then pay for their tort liability? Because these lawsuits are coming through the sheriff's office, through the jail. And so if we can't ask for correction and some sort of remediation, then we should have them pay for their own tort liability.
From my understanding, and again, I'll ask any of the assistant state's attorneys to correct me if I'm incorrect about this, but no, it is up to the county board to direct funding for that. They wouldn't be able to pay for their own per se. It is out of the county purse. But again, I think it's more, we can't direct, I think to what Nick was indicating as well, but I don't think we have the authority to direct specific policies. I think you can make requests, but I believe that would be most likely the limitation unless I'm wrong on that. As I'm getting, yeah, that would be a request.
Okay, Member Eckhoff.
I just wanted to mention, the lawsuit that's causing the comments that we are receiving today has been going on for a long time. And to get these comments today, I think it's a little out of order. If you were really concerned about it, it should probably have been brought at the time that we were first made it known of the events. And I just think it's a little strange that all of a sudden now that we're hearing them. And I think there's probably more motivating that than just what's good for the jail. Because I think the jail's run very well. I think the sheriff's doing a great job. And I don't think we should be looking at it from a different perspective than that.
Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted a little more clarification on the IDOC report. Is that public for people to review?
Yes, it's I believe on the corrections website, if I remember correctly, yes.
And is that an annual review?
I would have to I don't know if it's annual or biannual.
Okay, and are the results like on a grading scale, or is it just pass or fail?
From what I remember, there's various sections that have, I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Paul, do you know that off the top of your head, sir?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know that the sheriff goes through accreditation by the American Correctional Association every couple of years. In fact, he's going through it in the beginning of June. He also goes through medical accreditation, which is also happening this year. So he goes through both of those. Those are both outside agencies.
So if there were issues found, they would either need to be addressed to be accredited? I mean, isn't that the point of the accreditation
Yes.
process to
Yes.
determine if there's things? Yes.
Yes.
And they've always passed, or if it passed or fail, or
For the past 4 years since I've been here, I have not heard any otherwise. I can't speak to before that. I don't know off the top of my head. I imagine so, but I don't know the history entirely, past 4 years.
okay. Well, my understanding is if there's state, requirements and state, levels that the jail needs to meet, and they're meeting them, that is the point of those outside agencies coming to take a look, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the board is the one who has to approve this type of funding, et cetera, I think that it's only reasonable that the board should be able to ask questions and find out what is actually going on. And if I recall, one of the major issues in this case was the fact that the state of Illinois psychiatric services were not able to be obtained by this person, et cetera. So it would be only reasonable for us to know what's going on so that this never happens again, because one death is certainly one death too many. And we are not to compare ourselves to Cook County or anything else. And our job is to ask questions. And this settlement was only in the fairly recent past. So asking it today when we're being asked to approve this is completely appropriate. And it's completely appropriate that we ask these questions and that somebody is going to answer what's being done to make sure this never happens again. That's fair.
Member Garcia.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the reason that this has not been discussed before now is that, as was stated by the Assistant District Attorney in our finance meeting today, it's not complete yet, this whole.
That's correct. So I kind of wanted to respond to two things. First of all, I had asked that any facts regarding this case not be discussed because the minor settlement is still up for approval before the court towards the end of May. So this case is not concluded. The other thing too, this board did approve the appropriation of funds to the tort liability. This is appropriating to a budget within tort liability. And so it's not truly a budget transfer, it's the appropriation to a budget within that fund, if I'm correct.
So just simplistically, in 2024, the board decided to reserve or to move $10 million from surplus into tort liability. The action today is simply utilizing that money that was previously reserved for this case. And that's what the action is. We're putting the money in the right place. As you said it, I think it's a perfect example. You're moving it from your savings to your checking.
Correct.
This is not, we're not additionally appropriating another 10 million. This is the original money that was originally allocated toward this. Just so there's no confusion on that.
And so to be clear, I think there is going to be more discussion, but let's wait to have it. So thank you.
I agree. It's not really appropriate at this time. Let's, when everything is finished and the state's attorney lets us know, then we can revisit it. Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 007125, oh, I did that one, sorry. FIR 007325, approval of employee compensation and job classification adjustments, community services.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 007425, budget transfers for 2025, various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 007525, approval of employee compensation and job classification adjustments for stormwater.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 007625, approval of employee compensation and job classification adjustments.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 007725 for the appointment of Laura Flamian as an Animal Service Administrator and Dr. Kristen Burdick as Animal Services Deputy Administrator for Animal Services.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 007825, revision to Personnel's Policy Manual, Parental Time Policy for Human Resources.
Member Yu.
Hi, so thank you, Madam Chair. I actually moved to amend FIR 78-25, revision to Personnel Policy Manual, Parental Time Policy. Jason is going to, I think, hand out the amended language. It just clarifies the draft language, and specifically it changes it to all full-time and part-time employees who are budgeted to work a minimum of 20 hours per week, comma, have worked at least 1,250 hours or 12 months, comma, and are not in a new hire probationary period at the time of birth or adoption of a child are eligible to receive up to 12 work weeks of parental time. And this amendment is really actually less limiting than the prior language, and I know that Chris is going to explain for us. Thank you.
Correct, yes. So I included a memo, thank you. I included a memo on that as well, just for clarification in hopes to, update. First off, the policy has been really well received. We've had a lot of questions in regards from employees, but very, very positive feedback. It's been a great tool for recruitment as well. So just to give a little feedback, because it's been about 5 months that we've had this in place, so there's been a lot of good we've seen coming from this policy. But like when we looked at this initially, we knew that there would be some opportunity to kind of see how it played out and things that we could clean up a little bit. So we did a few things, clarifying the minimum hours of 20 hours for part-time, which is more in sync with other policies that the county board has, as well as some language regarding, probationary period for new hire employees need to wait to be eligible for it once they're out of the probationary period. And then also that eligibility rule, we have made it a little more inclusive. So we have changed it so it's a little more open for people to be eligible for this policy. So, and I appreciate, Member, you kind of looking at it to clean it up so it reads more cleanly. So that's the amendment today.
Member Covert.
Get my microphone. There you go. All right, I got it. I just had a question. I like this. It's nice, but, and I'm not going to bring it up right now, but I would like to see in the future, maybe I'm a bit more liberal with this, but what happens to new hires that happen to get pregnant that year, and now they have to choose between keeping their job or...
So we have a paid leave personal leave that new employees can have. So it would allow people to take up to 90 days, so those that are not eligible could take a paid leave to stay home with a child, but that's an unpaid leave. So, but there is an option, so we would not say they could not, stay employed, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Member Ozog.
I totally agree with this amendment as we've been shown, but I also wanted to share a story we'd heard recently of a young person my kid's age. This young mother had 2 weeks off for maternity leave. So I really appreciate the board and HR and everybody who's been part of this discussion. And we are helping people, helping families, and being good employers. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Great.
2 weeks is ridiculous. And that's happening in this country. So here we are. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for all the incredible work you've done on this. Did we have a second on the amendment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're going to vote on,
So I'm gonna go back to it, to the, I make a motion to approve FIR 007825 as amended. Revision of personnel policy manual, parental time policy.
okay, roll call, please.
Garcia.
Aye.
Heather. Koenig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. And Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
And I make a motion to approve FIO 000125, amendment to the Geographic Information System, GIS fee.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. Okay, we'll move on to Animal Services. Member Desart, do you have any updates from Animal Services? Okay. Development and Member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DCO 17-25, zoning 25-5, to approve a conditional use to increase the total permitted area of a detached accessory building from 1,000 square feet to approximately 1,381 square feet for an existing detached garage and shed.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Tornatori.
Aye.
You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Koenig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. And Schwarzy.
Okay, thank you, Member
Thank you,
Tornatori.
Madam Chair.
Economic Development and Member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my update, so I just want to say on April 9, Choose DuPage sponsored their DuPage Communities meeting where the topic was AI for Economic and Community Development. More than 20 municipalities were represented in the room, gathered in their common interest of learning how to integrate AI into local strategies to further economic development. A team of experts from Crow gave us examples on how AI can draft ordinances or can analyze pertinent parts of DuPage County's financial plan for the business community, and even provided a demonstration of Google Gemini's deep research, where we compared zoning codes of 2 cities to create a data center. Thank you to Greg Betelov and his team at Choose DuPage for a fascinating afternoon. And then on the workforce side, the AI theme continues. For anyone looking to revise their resume, our friends at WorkNet DuPage will be holding an in-person AI Resume Revolution workshop on April 28 at 9 a.m., where job seekers can discover how to write their resumes using artificial intelligence. And finally, I received a note of thanks to Chair Conroy and the DuPage County Board from Beth Marchetti and the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for the Transportation Grant Program, which we get approved in February. The DCVB sales team has already secured several pieces of business, including a contract for a medical conference, winning the bid due to the incentive of transportation. More details will be provided at our next May Economic Development Committee meeting, and I think we will also be getting an update on logistics and preparations underway regarding the PGA Tour's 2026 President Cup at Medina Country Club. Be sure to attend our Economic Development Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Yu. And we now have Environmental and Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. The previous item that we voted on in the Development Committee, the discussion that came up during development was that this shed, for lack of a better word, is actually a shipping container. And so there was a discussion that there are a lot of those in our county. And I expressed that I've seen some pretty amazing houses built out of shipping containers because they're cheap. Nobody's sending them back to China, so there's a glut of them here. And it's amazing what a couple of those stacked and put together will make for a home. So I'm just raising that conversation that with our efforts for affordable housing, we have to be more creative, and that I think this could be a way to go on some of the properties that we own here in the county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On to Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to share with this committee that Vice Chair Garcia and I met with our finance staff who is evaluating these small human services grants. They're almost complete with their review, and then it goes on to the state's attorney for their review after that. So we expect that process to be completed by our May 6th committee meetings, in which it'll be presented at our committee, and then we'll make sure it gets out to all the members to go through which ones they want to approve and so forth. So I'll keep you up to date on that. Onto the agenda, I'll move to approve item HSR 925, authorization to apply for program year 2026 Title III Caregiver Resource Center Services Grant Funds from Age Guide, Northeastern Illinois.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Tornatore. You. Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Yes.
And Rutledge.
Okay, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 1025, authorization to apply for federal fiscal year 2024 and federal fiscal year 2025 section 5310 grant funds from the Regional Transportation Authority.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 1125, resolution to rescind HSP 1225 issued to Allco Sales and Service Company to provide Elite X long-term beds for the DuPage Care Center in a contract total amount of $109,192.16.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1625, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Central DuPage Hospital Association doing business as Health Lab for patient phlebotomy and laboratory services for the DuPage Care Center for the period April 23rd, 2025 through April 22nd, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $40,000.
Okay, roll call, please.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. And Rutledge.
Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1825, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to McKesson Medical Surgical Government Solutions, LLC, to furnish and deliver incontinent products for the DuPage Care Center for the period June 30th, 2025 through June 29th, 2027 for a contract total amount not to exceed $200,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1925, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Professional Medical and Surgical Supply, Inc. to furnish and deliver ostomy, tracheostomy, urological, and enteral supplies and services and enteral feeding formulas for the DuPage Care Center for the period July 30th, 2025 through July 29th, 2026 for a total contract not to exceed $50,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 2025, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Allco Sales and Services Co. for replacement of Elite X long-term beds for the DuPage Care Center for the period April 23rd, 2025 through April 22nd, 2026 for a contract amount not to exceed $110,880.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Okay, Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my committee update, I want to call attention to item 16F. In a previous Judicial and Public Safety Committee, we discussed this text amendment to create an ordinance for loud and raucous noise. I want to thank Member Schwarzy for bringing this to the committee, because this is something that in unincorporated DuPage County, you know, you got some of these party houses, habitual, very noisy parties, and there's no real remedy. So Member Schwarzy worked with the state's attorney's office and the sheriff's office to come up with this solution. So I encourage everybody to support this, and I hope it brings some relief to some of these residents that have to listen to this noise all the time. And with that, I would like to move on JPS CO-3-25, amendment to purchase order 6219-1 serve issued to Colossus Inc. to increase the contract encumbrance in the amount of $12,527 for new contract total not to exceed $582,597.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Evans.
Aye.
Galasi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. And Eckhoff.
Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPS CO-4-25, amendment to purchase order 7281-1 serve issued to AT&T Mobility LLC to increase the contract encumbrance in the amount of $75,000 for new contract total not to exceed $479,000.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I'd like to move on JPS CO-5-25, recommendation for the approval of an amendment to purchase order 7006-1 serve for a contract issued to Titan Image Group, Inc. for the purchase of printed business envelopes for various departments to increase the contract in the amount of $2,400 to include printing services for probation and court services, resulting in an amended contract total not to exceed $44,655.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I'd like to move on JPSP-20-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Peter M. King of King Holloway LLC to provide professional services as a child protection GAL attorney assigned to juvenile cases for the period of May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $42,000.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I'd like to move on JPSP-21-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Heartland Business Systems for the purchase of an intercom and access door system for the Sheriff's Office for the period of April 29th, 2025 through April 28th, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $338,174.12.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And finally, I'd like to move on JPS O-1-25, ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 4, Section 261015 of the County Code of Ordinances to amend for loud and raucous noise.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Evans, and thank you, Member Schwarzy. Okay, Legislative and Member Desart.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Public Works and Member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 725 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Group Industries to provide refuse disposal, recycle, and asbestos pickup for the DuPage County Public Works Facility for Public Works for a period of June 1, 2025 through May 31, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $80,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galasi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori.
Aye.
You. Zay. And Cahill.
Okay. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Chicagoland Paving Contractors for a parking lot rehabilitation of the Nordic Wastewater Treatment Plant, Itasca Softball Field Complex for a period of April 22nd, 2025 to November 30, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $99,000.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 925 for the recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Federal Signal Corporation doing business as Standard Equipment Company for a Vector 2100 Plus combination sewer cleaner for Public Works and Stormwater for a period of April 22, 2025 to April 21, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $705,577.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 1025 on the recommendation of a contract to Rowell Chemical Corporation to provide sodium hypochlorite to the Woodridge Wastewater Treatment Facility and the Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Facility for Public Works for a period of April 22, 2025 to March 31, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $115,000.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWR 325 for the recommendation, for the amendment to the resolution PWP 1025 issued to Rowell Chemical Corporation to provide sodium hypochlorite to the Woodridge Water Treatment Facility and the Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Facility for Public Works. The contract rate is decreasing from $2.16 per gallon, delivered to $2.10 per gallon, resulting in a decrease of 3%.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 1525 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Group Industries to provide refuse disposal, recycling, and asbestos pickup services for DuPage County facilities for facilities management for a period of June 1, 2025 through May 31, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $126,843.06.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMR 125 for the amendment to the resolution of FMP 1525 issued to Group Industries for refuse disposal, recycling, asbestos pickup for facilities management, expanding the scope of the service to include the additional location for the health department, increasing contract rate per pickup is 2%.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 1925 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Enterwise Global Technologies for participation in the demand response program for a period of June 1, 2025 through May 31st, 2026 for a contract approximately $452.48.52.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
And finally, I'd like to move on FMP 2025 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract with Desmond Inc. to provide Phase 2 professional architectural and engineering design services to complete and repair maintenance for a long-term capital investment and asset management goal for the 479 and the 509 parking decks on the county campus for facilities management for a period of April 22nd, 2025 through November 30, 2029 for a total contract amount not to exceed $364,010.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. Okay, Stormwater and Members A.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I want to thank the chair and the board members who went down last week to attend the Sustainable Design Challenge with the high school students. They did a great job, and I know they like talking to everyone. I want to thank Scarce for all their hard work of organizing that and putting it together, and mostly want to thank our stormwater staff who worked hard, did tours, did presentations, and judged the exhibits all day, so I appreciate all their efforts. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Members A. Technology and Member Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to announce under committee updates the next Municipal Technology Roundtable meeting on May 1st, 2025, where we will discuss the following topics: AI and government updates by Gartner, DuPage County AI guidelines review, Innovate US AI free training opportunity, DuPage County Mutual's technical assistant team, intergovernmental agreement, DOJ accessibility rule update, where we had a successful web steering committee on accessibility meeting last week, and cybersecurity and AI task force updates.
Okay,
That's about
thank
it.
you, Member Covert. And Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to thank Vice Chair Tornatori for taking over in my absence from Finance today for our nice long agenda. And also, as all of you can see on your desk, this coming Saturday is the annual Western Trails and Illinois Parade Path Cleanup. It's the 30th anniversary, and a lot of people get out there and pick up a lot of trash that's collected during the winter. And it's also a sign of spring. So if we hopefully get good weather, please come out and join us. And if you get a chance to post these in various places you go, that would really be great too. I'll be posting them right next to my house because I live next to the parade path. So I'm going to put a few up on the various light posts, etc. But it'll be a very good day, hopefully. Okay, thank you. First of all, I move to combine items A through J.
All in favor?
Okay. I move to approve item 250835, amendment to resolution DTR 038720 issued to Brothers Asphalt Paving for the Addison Township Road Maintenance Program to decrease the funding in the amount of $57,895.97 and close the contract, resulting in a final township cost of $455,487.37, a decrease of 11.28%. I move for approval of item 250842, amendment to resolution DTP 006221 issued to Atlas Engineering Group for professional construction engineering services to decrease the funding in the amount of $72,542.50 and close the contract, resulting in final county cost of $327,457.50, a decrease of 18.14%. Move for approval of item 250849, amendment to resolution DTR 026322 issued to H&H Electric Company for LED traffic signal head replacements to decrease the funding in the amount of $1,879.02 and close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $296,780.89, a decrease of 0.63%. I move for approval of 250852, amendment to resolution DTR 001819, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Village of Carroll Stream for improvements at the intersection of County Highway 36, Schmalley Road, and Lees Road to decrease the funding in the amount of $7,176.57 and close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $9,164.33, a decrease of 43.92%. I move for approval of 250853, amendment to resolution DTR 0158A21 and DTR 015821 issued to Copenhagen Construction for the 2021 Sidewalk Improvement Program to decrease the funding in the amount of $23,007.28 and to close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $192,452.63, a decrease of 10.68%. I move for approval of 250954, amendment to resolution DTR 0428A21 issued to R.W. Duntman Company for the Downers Grove Township 2021 resurfacing program to decrease the funding in the amount of $201,457.17 and close the contract, resulting in a final township cost of $464,431.87, a decrease of 30.25%. I move for approval of item 251009, amendment to resolution DTR 006123 issued to R.W. Duntman Company for the 2023 Pavement Maintenance North Program to decrease the funding in the amount of $150,610.95, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $6,438,910.95, an increase of 2.39%. And I move for approval of item 251015, amendment to resolution DTR 005923 for the 2023 Pavement Maintenance Central Program issued to R.W. Duntman Company to decrease the funding in the amount of $64,083.93 and close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $4,073,000 $25,916.07. Move for approval of item 251019, amendment to resolution DTR 0173A22 issued to R.W. Dumpman Company for the 2022 Pavement Maintenance North Program to decrease the funding in the amount of $48,327.51 and close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $5,565,176.49, a decrease of 0.86%, and a final cumulative increase of 3.28%. I move for approval of item 251027, amendment to resolution DTR 0172C22 issued to K5 Construction for the 2022 Pavement Maintenance South Program section to decrease the funding in the amount of $311,588.42 and close the contract, resulting in a final county cost of $4,635,800.17, a decrease of 6.30%, and a cumulative decrease of 1.31%.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozog.
Yes.
Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski, and LaPlante.
Okay. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move to combine items K through N.
All in favor?
Thank you. I move for approval of DTR 525, awarding resolution to Geneva Construction Company for the Winfield Township Liberty Street Resurfacing Project. Estimated township cost $116,579.57. No county cost per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTR 625, awarding resolution to Triggy Construction Incorporated for the 2025 Sidewalk Improvements Program for an estimated county cost of $985,127.30 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTR 00725, awarding resolution to K5 Construction Corporation for the 2025 Pavement Maintenance South Program for an estimated county cost of $7,150,125.82 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTR 825, awarding resolution to Builders Paving LLC for the 2025 Pavement Maintenance North Program for an estimated county cost of $7,524,912.96 per lowest responsible bid.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozog.
Yes.
Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski, and LaPlante.
Okay. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTR 925, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and Winfield Township Road District for the Winfield Township Liberty Street Resurfacing Project, no county cost.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move to combine items P through S.
All in favor? Member Ozog.
Okay, I move for approval of DTP 2525, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Northern Contracting Incorporated to furnish, deliver, repair, and install guardrails as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period May 12, 2025 through April 30th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $75,000 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTP 2625, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Haggerty Ford Incorporated to furnish and deliver Ford Motorcraft repair and replacement parts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $100,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of three renewals. I move for approval of item DTP 2725, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ciorba Group Incorporated to provide professional construction engineering services for the 2025 Pavement Maintenance South Program for the period April 22nd, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $471,773, professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with Local Government Professional Services Selection Act. Move for approval of item DTP 2825, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Primera Engineers Limited to provide professional construction engineering services for the 2025 Pavement Maintenance North Program for the period April 22nd, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $535,843. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozog.
Yes.
Rutledge. Schwarzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Koenig. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
Okay, thank you, Member Ozog. Okay, we're going to move on to old business. Do any members? Member Cahill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just was going to ask for an update on the status of the lawsuit with the clerk's office and also what the legal fees we have paid through March, if anyone knows that.
This had been requested at the last meeting, so we are going to address that with a few slides in executive session. Yes, you asked and.
Okay, wow, that was quick. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thought Member Rutledge would mention this, but I got there at 10 o'clock last Saturday morning for the sign recycling, and the dumpster was already filled. So that was a really great effort, especially for a off-year election. But I thought you would mention it, so I'm bringing it up. Thank you. It was great.
Okay. Anybody else in old business? Member Desart.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. One is a little bit about decorum. Our job is to ask questions, and just because somebody doesn't like our questions or like our comments doesn't make those questions or comments inappropriate. So I would just like to see more respectful debate on the board floor. The second thing I'd like to remind people is that Raise the Wolf is coming up this Friday, and in case you don't recall, it has now been moved to the Chicago Marriott in Oak Brook. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Okay. Member Honig.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Last week we had our intergovernmental committee meeting, and it was my first meeting as co-chair where mayors and managers gave municipal updates with the respective towns where we discussed important issues like the replacement of the grocery tax, and also towards the end of the meeting we congratulated Mayor Venestra of Addison and Mayor Warrenville David Brummel for their years of service, and so we wish them good luck on their future endeavors. So thank you.
Okay, let's move on to new business. Anybody in new business? Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask the board today to fund an initiative out of ARPA interest. It's not something new. This board previously had funded the Senior Citizens Council meals for seniors. At the end of last year, I was doing one of their distributions right before Christmas, and they were handing out a flyer to the recipients saying they were no longer able to fund this program. With that, I know some board members, Member Schwarzy, Member Garcia, met with the Senior Citizens Council, and honestly, we weren't happy with their answers at that point, and if I was coming to you and asking to fund the Senior Citizens Council, I would say no, because we didn't get a lot of answers to where the money was being spent and what had happened. But since then, the Sheriff's Department has been very interested in this. They've been working with the Senior Citizens Council, and it was the Undersheriff, Eddie Moore, who came to us and said he would like to continue this program. Unfortunately, he can't be here today. They're actually doing training with the Senior Citizens Council today to their short people for Meals on Wheels. The Sheriff's Department is going to start helping with some people delivering the meals once a week. So again, they would like to do this. Honestly, if any was there, I know a lot of board members had volunteered for the distribution. They did most of the grunt work, the footwork. We were distributing the food. They had the people out there. Their community resource officer was talking to the people, knew everybody in line, what was going on. And they feel that they can run this program. They'd like to do it as a trial, do it once a month. It'd be $71,000. We have the money in ARPA interest. And again, they're going to, the way we had told the Senior Citizens Council, they're going to tighten down who is getting these meals, the age, the income restrictions, Before it was 55, you can get a meal. We weren't sure on income restrictions. The sheriff's office is going to look into that and narrow that down for the needy seniors that need these meals will get them. And I know once a month doesn't seem like a lot, but hopefully we can build on that. I know they were out there a couple weeks ago for Easter doing a drive from donations from a neighbor of mine that I donate to, Jason Conander at Electroflex. He does 2 food drives a year, not only for the seniors, but he gives hundreds of meals to the local townships with hams and turkeys at Thanksgiving and Easter. So again, it's $71,000, kind of as a pilot program. Hopefully we can build in the future on this, but again, if you saw the faces of the seniors when I was out there in December telling them that this program was being eliminated, it was really hard, especially at the holidays, to see. Again, it doesn't seem like a lot of people, but for this amount, I think they will do a good job, and if they don't, they'll be the first ones to tell us they can't do it. So again, I'm just bringing for consideration, just looking for a consensus to then talk to staff, and then possibly we can bring it up at the next meeting or next month.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So I know this is, this program is very much in partnership with the board. So I know the board is there, many of you, every single time to help with this. So I think it's important to state that. Member Ozak.
I just want to reiterate that if in the future, I think it would be really important for the sheriff's office to note the board's collaboration. And I'm sure we do get notified, but I'd appreciate an email 2 weeks before if there's going to be a monthly event so that we could all have an opportunity to participate. So, but I do think it's important to know that we are collaborating and it's not strictly coming from the sheriff's office. Thank you.
Member Desart.
Thank you. And Member Day, I do think it's a wonderful program. Yes, I had my hand raised because I saw this $29.50 per box, which I thought was very expensive, thinking that, you know, you could go to Panera and get a box lunch for a lot less. But now I'm looking at this. I think I'm reading this right now. There are 5 packed box meals per box.
Yes.
So
there's
5 meals for $29.50.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so we're looking, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. You know, Member Zay and I and Member Garcia did meet with the Sheriff's Department, and they're really on top of this. We decided with the, not necessarily going through Human Services because as some of you may or may not know, we're probably going to continue our Northern Illinois Food Bank program through the end of the year, and so we thought that was where our money was best spent. So going through ARPA interest, I thought was a good idea, and I'm never going to vote no against feeding our public. So I think this is a great idea. Thank you.
Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree. The last week at the intergovernmental meeting that we had on Wednesday, there were a couple of mayors that talked about bringing back re-implementing the grocery tax. So I think with that, might make it difficult for some people to access food, and I think this program's a wonderful program as a pilot to at least feed the seniors and make sure that they're getting what they need because they are on a fixed income and won't be able to afford it. So.
Okay, so we're looking for a consensus. I definitely support this, and this is a partnership between the county board and the sheriff's office, and we definitely have consensus. Thank you. Thank you, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And for what Members Ozog, we have been very good to this. The board has funded it for the last year for over $282,000. And if it wasn't for the county board's work and funding this, we wouldn't have that program at all. So the board will definitely be a partner on this. They stated that, and we'll make sure when there are events that we'll get notification to everybody.
That's great.
Okay,
Member
thank
you.
Also for new business, thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to bring to your attention to the county board members that there's been a collaborative effort with regard to secure storage, a communication that is now being sent out to DuPage County families of students in DuPage County. It is a letter signed by Amber Quirk, Regional Office of Education Superintendent, Bob Berlin, our state's attorney, as well as James Mendrick, our sheriff, and David Pedersen, who is our DuPage County Chiefs of Police Association. So the ROE and several law enforcement agencies have really declared that secure storage is a public safety issue and that parents should know about that to make sure that we are preventing unintentional shootings by minor children and suicides by impulsive teenagers. So I would really like to see if more of our county board members could share this communication with your respective districts and with your school districts and school boards. I would really appreciate that. And I didn't think to give you a copy in paper, but I can email it to you. But this is a collaborative effort that is happening, and I'm really, really excited about it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, I am informed that we do have matters before us requiring us to enter into executive session. I'll ask those not associated with the executive session to please exit the room. I'll take a motion to go into executive session. Okay. Roll call, please.
Desart. Eckhoff.
Is Katrina here?
Evans.
Is Katrina here?
Aye. Galassi. Garcia. Heather. Honig. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatore. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Childress. And Covert.
Okay. And Adam, we're going to ask you to leave and